Hello everyone and welcome back to another WizKids WarLock Tiles build of the month, where I take a couple of different sets that I've got and try and build something and try and maybe do something a little bit different. Now, in this video, I'm going to go through the general story of this dungeon, as well as sort of some of the little tips and tricks that I've been able to use. To build this set, I used one of the WarLock Dungeon Tiles set 1, one of the Dungeon Tiles set 2 for the full height walls, and I used one curved set, again the dungeon style. I've only used one set of each, so this can show you for relatively small amounts of money when it comes to WarLock Tiles what you can build. But let's jump into the story. So our trusty Bard and Goliath here were unfortunately trying to sneak through a wizard's tower to steal something. The wizard noticed and quickly cast some kind of gusting air and forced them through a magic door. Now that magic door seemed to close, but can they escape? Well, hopefully they can by fighting their way through this rather peculiar, almost figure of eight dungeon. Now, when they are flung through the door, when they pick themselves up, they are in pitch darkness here in the dungeon. There's a torch just to the left of them, and as they start to get to their feet, it lights rather magically. Unfortunately for them, they then see what is in the room with them, and more importantly, what's in the room with them not only can now smell them, can see them. And that's when the party are really not having a good day. So a T-Rex, two very angry looking Goliath brothers, and just for good measure, a nice little ogre in the back pop up. Now, of course, being a relatively large combat, this would be for a high level group. You can tailor this how you see fit. You'll see why later I'm using these. So they're going to come into this big expansive room and do battle. Now, what I've done with this room is a couple of little things, such as using sort of an outside wall here to be a normal wall. I've also used a couple of these. These are blocks. I should say I have used the stairs and ladders accessory kit for the stairs, the ladders that are just for show, and then these blocks just round the edge, just because that meant I wouldn't have to crack into one of my other Warlock sets. I could say it was done with just the 3 basic tile sets. Now, I've also had to build in these random sort of alcove or incoves, just to give the room not a fully square feel, and also to save some edge pieces for other parts of the build. When your party has managed to overcome whatever you have thrown at them here, they're going to notice, and if you've watched other Warlock Tile builds of the month, you'll know I love this trapper. Well, this entire corridor is Trapperville Central. You're not going to want to go down there. So your party is going to come to this door, go through, and then this is kind of the centerpiece of the build, this sort of thing that allows this sort of figure of 8-ish design to actually come up, give height to the build. You could throw just some goblins maybe here, or not. You know, you could maybe let them rest a little bit and not be fighting. There could be a reason. Maybe you could have some kind of other NPC that has been trapped here, maybe stuck here, and maybe your characters could meet them and maybe help them out, and maybe they could help you in a minute. You're going to come down the staircase here and then eventually the doorway. Now, because I've only been using the limited sets to do this build, this entire section here basically moves and appears on the other side of the board. So just pushing it together, it would look basically like this, but on the other side. Now, if you have multiple sets, sure, go ahead, you don't need to do this, but I'm just trying to show that you can use sort of, in this case, a mirrored room quite nicely, and just by sliding a big section like this off and putting it on the other side. Now, there is a reason why I'm using an exact design. I did a modular build once where I had bits and pieces poking out from everywhere. Why am I just moving this? Well, when the players come through, they'll find that the wizard maybe studies in some kind of necromancy, because the T-Rex has been brought back. The ogre has been brought back, and, well, let's just say we've got some phantoms of those Goliaths. Now, these I pulled out of the Boneyard set. You can see me unbox that on the channel, and I just wanted to have the encounter where you see the living defeat the living and then see the undead forms of these creatures, these monsters, just because it's that little bit of extra fun in terms of it looks the same, but something's a little bit different. Now, this is clearly something to do with the wizard's magic. So you could maybe draw some sort of inspiration from this and do it with very different monsters. But I just liked the way you'd have a way to use the cool miniatures, basically. So your party can defeat these, hopefully. You know, if they need the hand, maybe that NPC they met on the staircase area could be helping them. Or maybe, because they aren't maybe, you know, the real deal, because it's some sort of arcane necromancy magic, maybe they haven't been brought back to life, maybe they are just sort of some kind of figments of your imagination, so they go down a lot quicker than they should. But maybe you could still do damage to yourself in here. Once you've done that, well, the door does burst open and you can get back to whatever you were doing. I like the idea that you could be in a location, pushed through this magical door and have to deal with something like this and then go back out the door the other side and be just back where you were. You know, almost like nothing ever happened. You're looking around thinking, hang on, we're back, we're here. Because, you know, this means you can get experimental and sort of throw your players into something that doesn't quite fit otherwise. How else would, you know, a T-Rex and a zombie T-Rex be used sort of very quickly within the same sort of session? Well, this is maybe a way to do that. Now, a couple of things, like I said, I've used a few extra bits for the walls. Now, I've also used, because there's only so many of the double height walls, I've used the pillars. I've used 4 pillars on each side, which basically gives you another 2 inches of tall wall. And it just allows you to sort of have this nice and sort of solidly on the top. It's, you know, you can take this off. Now, other things that I have done in this area, because in the UK we don't have the 1-inch tiles yet. Now, there is, if I just pick it up, I've used, again, from the Stairs and Ladders pack. These are normally the top of like bits that you can then walk across. In fact, I've used even the little ones as just an extra stairway. And, well, these just sort of nicely fit in and sort of fill, unfortunately, the only 2 sections where a 1-inch tile in this build would have been needed. It would have made it a lot easier if I'd have cracked open another set. It would have been much easier if I'd cracked open or even could have a 1-inch set. We don't have them, so it shows that you can kind of get away with that regardless. If you've got it, of course, reuse it. Steal this design, make it your own. And anyway, that is the Figure of 8 Wizard Dungeon. Now, if you want to see other builds of the month, there's a load, so check them out on the channel. There's a playlist, you can go through them all. Like I said, I unboxed the Boneyard miniatures, a load of those, so go and check that out. There's dragons and even Dragons Collective, a D&D show. Check all that out on the channel. Until next time, have a great day gaming, and may your rolls be high.